I'm on the board. She didn't introduce Amy and Amy. They're both on the board, so I want to make sure they.
Sorry about that.
They've been in every meeting I've been to, so I don't know. Anyway, to make a long story short, I'm here to address the situation. We have expenses for all you people so you can have a copy of what it costs to run this school. We were in a board meeting for the last couple of months trying to decide how we're going to make this work. We're first asking all of you to make your tuition payments on time. We can't keep going to the credit card to make payments. You know what interest rates are on those, and we'll never come out from behind that 8-ball. Also, we are running about $7,000 a month short, which you'll see on these, but that's based on 135 students. So the tuition is going to go up pretty substantially in order to keep this school active. We've done everything in our power over the last 5-6 years to keep it minimal, but we just can't sustain it any longer. So at this point, I'm going to ask Amy and Amy to pass out the sheets so you'll have them, and then we're going to open it up to a question and answer type of format. At 7 o'clock, for those of you who are here for a preschool, they're going to have a preschool meeting at 7 o'clock. So just to give you a forewarning that we have to end this at 7 o'clock. This isn't for this year. This is for next year. I'm sorry. Does everybody have one? If you look down this sheet, these are expenses for next year. They come up to $435,100. Okay, can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? I'm sorry. All these expenses are what it takes to run this school. The total is $435,100 yearly. Currently, based on the 135 students that we have, we take in roughly $345,000 to $350,000. That's with fundraisers and everything. So that's why we're $7,000 short a month. We're not asking to get ahead of the game. We're just asking to break even so we can continue to go onward. So with that, I'm going to open it up to any questions you may have, and somebody on the board will address whatever avenue we decide to go. We can't hear you. I'll bring this out to you.
I was going to say, I apologize. Did you repeat yourself on what was, you said 7,000 and that was breaking even with?
What I'm saying is, based on next year's projected expenses, they're going to be total $435,100. That's with no fudge or no catastrophes happening. Okay? Then we take in around $335 to $345 in tuition. Currently. That's why we're coming up short. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. Yes, ma'am.
So, sorry, my hearing is bad, so I may already touched on this in With what we currently take in,
$84,000 roughly, $84,000.
So with the families maybe that currently are at school, do you have a number of like what that would look like if you had to just put it into tuition?
The girl,
So the tuition numbers for next year are on the enrollment sheets that you all just received. I don't know if everyone can hear me or not. And those tuition numbers were chosen based upon 135 students enrolled. That number, that tuition number times that number of students will get us just over this number. There's a little bit of a safety net there, but not much. So you may also notice, as part of the tuition increase, we have done away with the fundraising requirement. In past years, each family was required to raise, I believe it was $300 per year fundraising. So that, unfortunately, we've struggled to meet those numbers historically. So, unfortunately, we're just, I hate to say giving up, but that just was not working. You know, that method was not working. And, you know, so we had to find other alternatives. So we're absorbing that into tuition costs.
yes, ma'am.
Just want to make sure that I'm reading this correctly. The half-day preschool will be $200 a month. That's currently less than what I'm currently paying.
That's for a half a day, Bert.
Amy.
Amy, you want to address that, please?
Sure. I'm pretty loud, so can everyone hear me? Okay, so after the meeting, I would like to meet with all of the preschool families to discuss changes for next year. But that rate is half day, not full day. And we'll talk about that at 7 so that preschool families can learn more in detail. And can I just say something about fundraising, Mike? Sorry. I just wanted to say, right now, with our budget as it stands, that $300 per family per year, that is budgeted in to cover our operation cost. So we have, let's say, $30,000 that we're like, when are we gonna get it? Are we going to get it? Are our fundraisers going to be successful? So by taking that $30 a month out of the requirements for families, whatever we bring in next year for fundraising will truly be fundraising and will be above and beyond, which will be greatly beneficial. Things like the parking lot, things like there's so many things that we could do with it, but the fence, right? Creating a playground at main campus. So when you look at those tuition numbers as they stand for next year, if you think, okay, take $30 out of that. So we still need that money, but instead of us saying you can raise it throughout the year, we're saying you have to pay it every month, and it's no longer set aside. It's no longer looked at as fundraising, it's just straight income. What we do plan to do with fundraising is only have 2 fundraisers a year. You can applaud at any time. No, I'm just kidding. So one in the fall, one in the spring. Our goal would be to bring in at least $5,000 at each of these fundraisers. We're not going to say your family has to raise X amount of dollars, but we want these to be big events to bring fundraising into the school. We will no longer be posting, okay, we have a fundraiser this month, we have a fundraiser this month, we need this, we need that. We are just asking, as committed families, that when those fundraisers come around, you jump in on your own accord and say, hey, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, how can I help you? So fundraising is still going to be present, but in a different way. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So the budgetary, the way that worked out, you base that on 135 students.
Correct.
What happens budgetary-wise if these changes mean you don't need 135 students anymore?
That's kind of on all of us. We're asking you to tell friends. We don't know how many people in this room can absorb that kind of an increase. Our biggest concern are the parents that have more than one student, because it's 3 times or 2 times as much. We understand that. But we had to start somewhere to give you guys some idea of, it's time, all we're doing is catching up with what we haven't done in the past.
I guess my question is, if you don't get to that 135, is there gonna be another ask for tuition?
We haven't got that far. We're praying to God we get we can hold the 135. But we're not gonna sit here and tell you, we had to base it on something, okay? And that's how we did it. That's why we're full disclosure here. We have nothing to hide from you. These numbers are actual numbers. The girls can prove any one of them. So we're saying that based on 135 students enrolling in this school, and I believe that includes daycare too, correct? Yes, preschool, whatever. Yeah, preschool, I'm sorry. I look at it as daycare, but anyway, to make a long story short, we're not to that level. We'll know by March 12th, did we say, how our enrollment's going, and we'll make a final decision at that point.
And one way that you can help us with this is by not hesitating to register. We base everything off of those registration forms. And so yes, you have until March 12th, and I get it. I know that you're all hardworking families, and for a lot of you, it's a sacrifice to send your kids to our school. I get that. But if you are, the only hindrance is you wondering what is going to happen in the future, we need to know those numbers sooner rather than later. The sooner we have firm registration numbers, the more beneficial it will be to communicate back to you. This is how we're looking right now. This is how close we are to that 135. But if you're waiting until the middle of March to register, that's going to be really stressful, I think, for everyone to have that last minute decision made.
Quick question, are you gonna keep them updated on the website or where we stand?
We can send out an email, family email.
Don't you
Yeah.
think we should, so you guys get an idea of where
Yeah.
we're tracking and how we're tracking?
Yeah.
So, okay.
We also made a change to the registration fee. You'll see that on your registration form. The reason we did that, Amy Hardy and I work all summer, and the first week of June, we send our time taking phone calls and answering emails where families have said, you know what, we've made another choice, we're not gonna enroll. So here we are in the summer, very few tours come in. It's kind of that, especially in June, families are vacationing. So we're asking you for a bit more buy-in as far as committing to the upcoming school year. Our registration fee used to be $25 per child. This year we are asking for $50 per child. However, there's a family cap of $100. So if you have 4 children, you're still only going to pay $100 for your registration fees. That registration money also helps us some over the summer. That's a bit of summer income for us, because we don't obviously collect tuition apart from.
What's your max capacity per building for students?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
What
you.
is your maximum capacity on students for each building? Main campus and annex?
Amy, would you answer that?
Absolutely. Sure.
I'll repeat it. What's the capacity per school at each campus? There's
It's 160 total. It's 40 at the annex and 120 at main campus.
okay.
Is that regardless of teachers?
I'm sorry.
Is that regardless, I'm sorry.
That's
Is that
okay.
regardless of teachers?
Well, that's just students. I mean, teachers would be additional people in the building.
Is it a limitation of the building, or is it because we need more teachers?
Oh,
Like
sorry.
8 per
Ratio.
1?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I believe that would be the max that would fit in the building. So that's not per teacher, that's through the building. One thing that I wanted to bring up is that if you go on a 12-month payment plan, the tuition equals out to very similar to what you're already paying. It's just you would pay through the summer. I know a lot of people, I know I budget monthly, I know a lot of other people budget monthly, and if you look at it that way, it might take a little bit of the sting out.
So, sorry. Throughout the summer, if other, I don't know if anybody else has this capacity. I don't even know if I do, I'm just asking. If we have the capacity to host, maybe we have our churches or whatever that would be willing to give up the space, because I have wondered, not that I have any sort of problem with our end of the year events, I don't want that to come across. But if we're paying a building, to host these events, and I don't know what we are, but does that take away from the overall revenue? And also, if we have a church that would be willing to host even just like a high school mixer, so I have a high schooler, so like a high school mixer, and we're like, we'll, give you chips and lemonade and play music and you can just hang out or whatever. Are over the summer, I guess kind of fundraisers, but kind of to bring in, people, like, bring your friends, get hot price, or, or anything like that are like ideas that we could do?
Yeah,
I'm
so
curious.
as to go back with building, facility rental, that is part of our budget.
Okay.
At this time, we have no space to house all of you, and so that's just kind of a necessary evil. We can't really get around that. We have used community churches in the past for events. What we're finding is we now have over 100 registered families. So only mom and dad come, that's 200 people, plus you have the teachers, plus we have yet to find a church. We've outgrown every church that we've worked with. And that's a great, beautiful thing, but it means we have to pay for space. To answer your question regarding summer events, Erin, if at any time any family decides, I want to do something to help raise money for the school, we will never turn that down, ever. So, no, not at all. And if it's the only time would be if you needed to use one of the campuses, then we would just need to go through some guidelines, of course, make sure that, we're holding to our standards. But if at any time you have an idea for a fundraiser over the summer, throughout the we're not saying you can't fundraise anymore. We're just saying for the health of our budget and for the health of us seeing what income is truly going to come in, we've had to take that out of the equation.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't even mean,
Yeah.
more meaning like as a
Yep.
bonus type of thing.
Absolutely.
Is there are there restrictions that,
No, whatever you want to do for fundraisers is fine.
Okay.
Is there any, I like the small class sizes, but is there a value of getting one or two more kids that have been on the waiting list? Does that actually reduce costs or does it increase costs?
Sure, that's a great question. I think it really
What
depends.
is the question, please?
The question was, with our small class sizes, does that help, if we were to pull in some extra students, does that help reduce cost or increase cost? So, what I've seen at main campus, and Amy, I think, has a different take with junior high and high school, is we have bumped class sizes up in certain areas. Preschool is a great example. Preschool started, Cynthia, maybe 12?
Yeah.
Our first
Remember we
class?
tried to get our first 12?
One class of 12 children. Now we have over 30 preschoolers. And so we do have to look at the age of the children, what that will change, if it will change the dynamic, because we're very determined to stay true to Cynthia's passion and Cynthia's vision for learning. And so if you make a class too large, even if you have the proper staff, it takes away from the Dow experience. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, no, I was just kind of like, I know that there are some waiting lists and some of the classes are a little smaller, and I wasn't sure if it had an effect of like, hey, we could get the 160 and it works well with the amount go down per month per person.
Sure, and unfortunately, we don't have a magic wand to say, okay, we've got 2 spots in 2nd and 3rd grade, like, make them come to us, because right now we have a waiting list in our 4s and 5s room, but we have openings in other grades, so it's just whoever comes.
Questions?
Can I ask another one? Do summer programs count as part of the overall budget, or are they a separate?
I believe the summer day camp budgeted in this year.
Yes.
Okay, so our summer day camp that we hold every year has been budgeted in, to the budget. We do June, it's like for 10 weeks over the summer, and that is currently budgeted in as revenue for the upcoming school year.
And is that amount changing for the weekly in response to some of the need, or is it?
I think that will probably stay pretty comparable because it's a different dynamic. We don't have to staff as many employees. It's way less cost prohibitive. So we tend to have great revenue from that because it takes very little to keep it going.
Yes, ma'am.
The question I'm having is, with tuition, is it being paid? You made a comment when you started out, paying your tuition on time. Is it not being paid on time? Does that hinder us?
Yes, that hinders us. Amy, do you want to address this about?
So right now, as it sits, I believe there are just over $4,000 in outstanding invoices. And last month, I believe we had to put $6,000 on a credit card just to make payroll last month. So yes, we are falling behind every single month, but in this particular month, just those invoices being paid on time would have been a huge help, so we could have met payroll as opposed to having to borrow to meet payroll this month.
So are you saying that you had 4,000 last month outstanding, not paid?
Correct.
And you needed 6, so really you were going 2,000 instead.
Correct, yes. We were still going backwards, just not as far. So, yes.
So the importance of that.
Yes.
Timely payments are
So,
important.
yeah, so we walk a very, very fine crossroad, and, yeah, so any missed opportunity for revenue really
That just
affects.
caught my ear, and as a parent, my daughter's in junior high. I was really surprised when I looked into the school that the tuition was so low. So I'm not surprised by this, and I'm just,
Ruby, one thing that I want to bring up, because we had said, like you pointed out, we still have been $2,000 shy of meeting our budget or our payroll. And that has come from fundraising. Normally we have it that we make $30,000 in fundraising. Our fund run over the last 2 years has brought in $5,000 to $7,000. This year it brought in a little over $1,500. So we're not meeting those fundraising numbers that we counted on when writing the budget. So I just wanted to let you know that that's
I
why.
like the idea of doing away with
Me
the-
too,
and
me
doing-
too. I think we
I'm
all
a black
do.
and white person, numbers, let's just do it and get it over with. I mean, I appreciate the schools, and I appreciate everybody's hard work. It caught my ear, and I just wanted everybody to understand how important and timely manner that it would be.
We need 135 words.
Any other questions? Yes.
Like our like the copier expense, that's ridiculous.
We know.
When I do a budget, and I looked into it, and that is crazy.
I want to say though,
And
go
I'm
ahead.
just curious about, like, if there's like a better breakdown of like some of the stuff here, I just wonder if other people here might have
Yes.
better options, or if it.
Let me tell you what we did, because when we looked at it last year, we were like, oh my gosh, that is crazy high, right? And what we bought printers for every teacher's room so that they would have their own laser printer. And that became such a headache. I don't know if there's any teachers in here that want to speak to that. We still use them at the annex. But, you know, Megan's raising her hand. It's buying the ink, and they run 100 pages, and then it gets jammed, and this or that. We just really feel that we needed a substantial copier machine.
So along with that, yes, we did. So along with that, when I first joined the board a year and a half ago, I felt the same way you did. I was like, oh my God, we've got to save money here. So we tried, and we tried to limp our old copier along as long as we could, and it died on us. So, and a lot of this expense also comes from the fact that we're not buying textbooks.
Yeah.
You know, public school systems operate out of textbooks all the time. And, you know, we're not buying textbooks. I believe we're using a math book these days in some of the early, younger grades. But, you know, for the most part, we're not operating out of those, so.
Megan?
We do print.
Did you have something to say?
Yeah, so I'm a high school teacher, and, my high school students' families pay me $30 every quarter, as a supply fees. I have my own printer, I buy my own ink, I buy my own printer paper, and I have 22 students in my room, and I did not require any of the students this year to have to buy workbooks. So those of you who are familiar with Working Wise books, I tried to save costs to the families by purchasing one Working Wise book and making copies where I thought it was necessary, rather than every family buying all of these textbooks and then still paying me a supply fee wondering why. So we don't have a big copier annex. We bought one at an auction or a yard sale. It only does black and white, and it only works with the food. Most days it's like raining. So
Very true.
I have a printer in my room, and, I myself buy the ink and buy the paper. I'm actually a toner, whatever it is, it's coloring. And I've tried, like I said, I've tried to save parents money. And to be honest, half of my high school parents have not paid my $30 to buy through the second quarter, which ends in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
May 13th.
Not just a copier.
Right, it's not just the copier, it's all the ink, it's all the paper, it's everything. Yeah, we have.
I mean, the alternative is buying textbooks is no cheaper. Right.
It could get like 2 cents per page.
Oh, no, I said the same thing.
I think that when I do my copier is separate than printer, like printer expenses and paper expenses.
Oh, we put it all together. No,
Yeah, so that's what was, I was like, you guys are getting.
no, it's nothing like
So
that.
I was wondering.
Got it.
If there has to be
And-
something better than that.
We just have another minute.
You don't have enough staff to say, okay, you took 100 pieces, so we'll charge this.
Well, no, I'm not saying that, I thought, because most, like, business-wise, your copier, you have like a maintenance agreement, or you have like a lease agreement. If you have like a service agreement, you own the copier, and it's however many copies you make per month, it's like a certain cost, and it includes your phone.
Yes.
So, with that, I budget separate from my paper and my printer expenses, that's not all lumped together.
I threw it all in together, I'm
I
sorry.
mean, that's what was throwing me off, because I was like, that's crazy.
Aaron?
Yeah, so I grew up going to a private Christian school. So my perspective maybe is a little bit different. But Days of Wonder is ridiculously expensive.
We've echoed that on the board.
That there are families that obviously struggle. I don't mean it that way. I just mean the cost of sending kids to school is expensive. I also know, I actually love that I just have a fee, quote unquote, to teachers for supplies. Because that means I don't have to go to the store because my kids' band toys
Right, and I appreciate your insight, Erin. One thing that we are going to continue are our volunteer hours. So Erin's example is a great segue into volunteer hours. We are still asking 4 hours a month or $25 a month. So you go to Kroger, you go to Office Depot, you see boxes of paper on sale, spend $25, bam, volunteer hours are covered for the month. You see dry erase markers, bring your receipts in, volunteer hours are covered for the month. And so we are not a traditional school. We don't want you just dropping off your kids and picking up your kids. We want to continue to be a community who's working together to help your children thrive and succeed and love learning. So when we ask for these things like volunteer hours and help cleaning the school, we could have so easily said, well, we're just gonna throw this all into tuition and here we go, one-stop shop. This is what you're paying, we'll never see you. It's not our heart, that's not our desire. We want to be partners with you. We want to team with you so that we can have a community of people who are loving on these kids, who are taking care of the beautiful buildings that we have, who are investing so much more than just, hi, bye. So my kids went to public school for 2 months this year. 2 months, that's how long my boys made it in public school. One only made it a month. And the thing, and I'm not knocking public school, I have lots of people I love who teach kids in public school, but the one thing that was the hardest for me is that I could drop my kids off, I could pick them up, I never saw their teachers, I never talked to administration, I had no connection to the people who were loving my kids and pouring into my kids for 6 hours a day. That's not us. That's not us. So in any way that you can to fill those volunteer hours, if you want to do your own fundraiser, like we said, go for it. We will never, never stop you. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, to support you, to lock arms with you, Amy and I are always here.
Did you next? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have one observation about volunteering hours. I did quite a little bit of my time in school, and I'm always shocked how much these wonderful ladies have to call and ask for help, other families. There's always a long list of the volunteer opportunities that is not fulfilled, either for research, for working in the classroom, helping out. And it only costs $25 to pay it off. And even that, I heard sometimes it's not being paid on time. I would propose really to increase the volunteering hours monetary payment. Because either you come to school and help out and work, or you just pay. This $25, it's not much for somebody to just sign off. And I understand people are busy and they have their life and they have work and all the commitments. Sometimes they just cannot show and physically do work. But I just don't think that's just too little. I'm sorry, $25 for 5 hours, for 4 hours for somebody to come to work. We just should pay a little bit more or work a little bit more.
I understand that people can do whatever they would like to do, but we have to get a budget that we can afford to live with. Take some stress off the Amy's every month trying to make payroll, trying to do. I mean, this was not an easy decision for this board. For 5 years, I'm the most hated guy on the board because I said we need to raise. Am I lying? No. We need to raise.
Maybe not the hated
you
part.
You can all hate me, but I'm being. I said this was full disclosure.
I'm really for helping more.
She's saying charge more.
I know, I agree with you. But our main goal right now is to break even. Those kind of things, we're trying to not make it so overbearing. We're not looking for 135 people to leave and we're standing here next year with no school. Think about what these teachers, these administrators do for your kids. It's the best kept secret in the world. I mean, and I've said that, I've been committed to this since day one. So I don't have any kids in this school. My kids are all raised. So you see on a daily basis what they do. I haven't been to many fundraisers because I have meetings at night in my real world business, But they know I'm a phone call away, whatever they need. I have never once shirked my duty. Anybody out sitting out there is welcome to join our board and find out what goes on. We try to get, we're so small, and I know a lot of people in Claremont County, but I can't get them to commit to one time a month, meeting for an hour and a half, 2 hours, because they said they don't think we're gonna survive. Well, we're putting the burden back on you guys. If you want us to survive, we need help. So, short story is, we're all in this together, and we're asking you to come together with us. Is there any other questions before I turn? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my name's Christy.
Hi, Christy.
And we had an 11-year-old who just started school this year, so we're new to the system, so I don't know everything there is to know. But I can tell you, we're very, very pleased with the school, very pleased with the staff, 100%. Things are thriving and growing tremendously since she has started the school, so I'm very grateful that she was able to get in. The other thing that I would like to ask, and the school may have this, but I was sitting and listening to the copier and the printer needs. And so if the school has, and if they don't, if they could create a wish list. And I don't mean just paper and markers and crayons, I mean like printers, copiers. What is it that the school needs? Because we all have connections. I have a copier in my basement now, if I would have to donate to the school, had I known. So, you know, people know people and people have things, so if we could have access to what the school needs, we may be able to help with that somehow.
Is that something we can put on the website?
Absolutely.
Does everybody know how to get on the website? I know that's a strange question, but I don't know if you've been, huh?
I update it every Thursday at www.daysofwonderschool.org. I put on all the pictures that the teachers put up on Facebook.